That is James Mennie over at the Montreal Gazette. So, Jim, I haven't talked about this at all. I know it was talked about a lot this morning, this new guide, apparently, for city employees, if they have to deal with Anglos. Do you want to weigh in on this?
Well, there's two things that occur to me. One, and my hat's off to Andy Riga of the Montreal Gazette. This is based on all of his work on getting an access to information request. The thing is, you look at the story, there's nothing in there that is, new, he said, making air quotes, insofar as Bill 96 goes. This is simply an out loud repetition of the patronizing, Anglophobic, narrow-minded, bigoted, garbage mentality that led to Bill 96 being created. It's just a reminder that it's out there. And the other thing that I wanted to raise with you on this is, and I've mentioned to you how I get a little nervous with your Dr. Frankenstein-y AI experiments that you sometimes, put on the show. But I was thinking, in this particular instance, if you could get some of these questions translated into English and spoken by the late, great Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, and just saying, Crocky, Anglos, you got to use discretion. It's like, it was just so weird. Like, there was this whole idea, the tone in this, in French, is that you're dealing with these, these aliens who just stepped off a spacecraft. You have to go this, you have to say that, and whereas all of this is going on, and I know we're going to get there before we're done here today, Aaron, but you look, my God, you look at all the other things that are going on. Just today in the city of Montreal, and and then you look at Andy's story and you go, my God, maybe Andy's story explains why everything else is going to hell in this city, because let's face it, city bureaucrats, city money, taxpayers' money was spent to create this and to I guess distribute these and to make sure that people understand it. And we have entered this kind of twilight zone, this kind of intermission during the theater of the absurd that says, lest you forget, Bill 96 is still around. Here is a concrete example of what it does. And I guess the most striking element of all of that story is, as far as I know, and I apologize if I'm wrong, speaking at 10 past 4 in the afternoon, not a single mayoral candidate has been asked about this story. There's been no reaction, as far as I can tell, from anybody over the patent absurdity. And once again, like most of Andy's stories about Bill 101, or its nefarious little brother, Bill 96, the facts speak for themselves. You don't have to spin this. The absurdity of these laws just are there in plain sight. But apparently, I guess the old bulletproof vest, for especially with French language media, the old bulletproof vest is around that simply because, if nothing else, if you don't want to protect the nation, your culture, your identity, you sure as hell want to protect your market. So don't make waves over a law that claims to protect French, no matter how full of rubbish that claim is and how absurd that legislation is.
Yeah, but with all due respect, isn't that answer, if any of these parties or any of the candidates address it, simply a matter of, it's a provincial law, it's not municipal, our hands are tied.
But that's what I know. I know what the answer is going to be, Aaron. What gets me? The question is not even being asked. Yeah. No one dare ask the question. That's what gets me.
Maybe if the French media kind of hopped on this and take the Gazette story and do something with it, then you think, then it opens the door for that. I would hope. But
even if I'm a francophone journalist and I have an audience who's paying taxes, if just based on that, never mind the whole identity thing. Do you think it's a good idea that the city of Montreal, which is so deeply in debt, which is trying to cut back on various services, so it keeps its head above water, is even spending $20 on this? Yeah. Do you think this is a good expenditure for the city of Montreal? Never mind, we know it's a provincial law, but do you think this is a smart expenditure? That's one way you could ask the question, should the question be asked. But frankly, it hasn't been, and nor do I expect it to be.
Don't know if you heard Chris Ross from the Firefighters Association going on about the story last week about, a fire in Montreal West. There's a fire station a block away, but they didn't have the proper equipment. You got a fire truck. I mean, that's kind of eye-opening. And then, of course, the city's response, or at least the fire department's response is, no. Sometimes there'll be trucks out of service, and sometimes uniforms or special equipment won't necessarily be up to date. I mean, just making excuses for what is really, when you stop and look at it, pretty frightening.
It is frightening. It's downright frightening. It's the kind of thing you'd expect to see in some sort of backwoods, backwater one-horse town rather than the second largest city in Canada. And yet here we are. And yet here we are having that conversation, talking about something that happened last week. And this week we see this survey conducted by the Société des Allemands de Montréal Centre-Ville, which is basically has been going to bat for downtown. I mean, Glenn Castanera has been on the show, and he's defending, we have to be positive, have a positive outlook, and we really have to get, downtown back on its feet. Well, they conduct a survey, and they discover that, 2 out of 3 workers downtown think the whole place is going to hell. People don't feel safe. And you can have Police Chief Patty Daguerre come on and say, well, it's just a perception. Guess what, my friend? Perception is what counts. So, with the close to $1 billion budget you have over at SPVM, buy a new cassette because people are getting fed up with it. And that's for real. Yeah. And that's not just workers, Aaron. That's people who go downtown, spend their money downtown, people who want to invest downtown. Right now, if I've had an idea to open up a store or a restaurant in downtown Montreal, God forbid, with all the other stuff that's going on, the completely off the wall lack of planning, the amateurist approach to doing anything, the molasses speed way that files are dealt with by the city bureaucracy, and then on top of everything else, everyone thinks the place is going to hell. Everyone thinks the place is crime-ridden, and even if per 1,000 person, that's not that many offensive. If people feel scared, that's all that counts. And guess what? People are feeling scared. And it's not.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm not. I'm just. It just gets me. I've been covering crime stats for 40 years, Aaron. And people have got that part figured out. So please don't sit there and say, Montreal, it's just a matter of perception. Montreal's a safe city. If people don't feel that it's safe, guess what? Yeah. Montreal isn't a safe city. If they don't feel that it's safe, they're not going to invest. Guess what? Vicious circle. And all your slogans and all your nice kind of unicorn, tinted visions of the future don't count for squat. Which also accounts, I suspect, for the other poll that came out today that pointed out that 41% of Montrealers haven't got a clue who they're going to vote for on November 2nd. That's nearly half the electorate, and we still don't know. And we're 2 months away from voting day. So, really, it's not exactly a crowning glory of popularity for any of the candidates, but certainly the three most recognizable. It's hardly a huge endorsement. But like we say, when we have a conversation, that magic phrase, that election plank, as far as I'm concerned, hasn't been put together yet. Maybe it will be, but right now, man, oh man, things are looking pretty grim between now and November 2nd.
It's funny, though, as I hear you go through these things, and you're right. If you don't feel safe, perception is reality in this case, right? You think there's so much fodder here for an opposition party to say, hey, look at this, look at this, look at that survey, look at... you want to win an election, go to town and start pointing that stuff out. I think that part has been kind of quiet up until now.
Well, maybe these guys weren't doing their homework. Maybe with today's surveys, you may see more of that as we get closer to November 2nd. I don't know. It's kind of scary that they had to wait for those polls to be published and not, do their own homework. But all that said, I think the days of talking about some theoretical brighter tomorrow, Montreal is in huge trouble. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. It doesn't matter. As my dad used to say, it doesn't matter who started it. It's, we just have to end it. And it's going to be up to, I guess, the people of Montreal, the voters of Montreal, to find the candidate who, and once again, up to them, to provide a credible vision of how they are going to end it, because I think it can be done. All it takes is a bit of political will and perhaps the courage that allows you not to hide behind interminable, useless, pointless, expensive public consultations that lead absolutely nowhere.
By the way, Jim, speaking of issues that need to be addressed, you'd probably want to know today, Ensemble Montreal came out and promised more food trucks for Montreal.
Yeah, man, I'll be sleeping tight tonight. I've been tossing and turning over that one since But this is the other thing. Remember, my God, food trucks. Don't get me going. Remember food trucks? They're supposed to be simple. Yeah. You get a big, juicy, spurketing sausage and a bun, right? No, they have to be like fancy vide de cuisine kind of food trucks. Get out of here. Shut up. Mind your own business, okay? Just leave food trucks alone. People know what to eat. They don't like it, they'll go. They'll flock to it. But for God's sakes, no, city's got to stick its nose in that. My God, there's such frustrated little bureaucrats. It's not even funny.
I love you, Jim. Jim, thank you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Got
to. I mean, really, do you really have to regulate food? He's so right? Oh, no, you can't just serve. Go to New York and try to say that to someone selling hot dogs on the street or shawarma sandwiches. Come on.